going to exhaust you because you have been sitting here already the whole day listening to all the speakers. Maybe just, I don't have slides for this. The aim was to give a small recap a bit of the day and then to have some reflections on the future directions. And I maybe want to hear your input on that too, and I have my own opinion on this too. So first, maybe a small recap of the day. Yeah, the day was totally on imaging. Yes, so pre-procedural imaging, intra-procedural imaging, post-procedural imaging. I think what I remember from the pre-procedural imaging part, well, it is clear that there are clearly different schools. Some people really don't need the pre-procedural planning or imaging and like to take the patient right away in the lab and do everything there. I think that's maybe possible if you're an experienced team and you have real good proper 3D imaging possibilities in the lab. I think that's probably a way forward. On the other hand, LA closure remains still not technically the easiest procedure as an operator. So I think we do for less complex cases, procedures such as TAVI, fantastic pre-procedural planning with cardiac CT, and that's part of the key of the success and the extremely low complication rate of TAVI in the hands of many people, because don't forget, I mean, if you want to have this as a therapy that's adopted by many people in even small centers, it has to be safe. So I think cardiac CT can definitely help there, and I do like it personally myself, but I also see that there are logistical constraints for some hospitals, and then so that's fair enough. But it's nice that we could exchange ideas on that. And the key for sure is if you combine in the pre and the intra-procedural imaging, I think the key there is that we need at some point some 3D imaging. Except for a few exceptions, now Tom is gone, but Tom is not a real believer that we need a real 3D imaging. I see his point. I talked about it with him during the coffee break, and it's also, he says, look, it's depending on how good and conformable your device is. And that's maybe a point. I mean, let's say in the ideal world, we have extremely conformable, and now the people from conformal are still sitting there. So in the ideal world, if you have an extremely conformable device, then your exact imaging, it doesn't come down on 1 or 2 or 3 millimeters less or more you measure. I agree. So that's the rationale of that Tom, the Potter, follows. But I think, honestly, with the current devices we most have in our hands, and we want to go for the optimal procedural results, I think really we should almost do 3D imaging. And it would almost, especially because we have most of the time, we have it available. Yes, we have either regular TE, and then to go back on the intra-procedural imaging, we had fantastic talks. I think what is the biggest addition there in current times is the mini TE, if I'm honest. We're waiting still, me and Jens-Erik and a few others here in the room are of course big fans and users of eyes, but we have to admit, the eyes we use typically is 2D eyes, and of course it's logical that 2D is always inferior to 3D. Of course. I mean, it's just logical. So if you have 3D, it's better. On the other hand, 3D eyes, we saw some nice presentations on that too, but the main concern for me is their really cost. I mean, it's going to be really a difficult one to get this in the current context of health economics to get this pushed to many hospitals. And then the post-procedural imaging, yeah, we had many animated and really some super nice talks here at the end as well on leaks, DRT. I think there's many things already answered, but even more questions unanswered. Yes, you see that we're missing data, evidence, and of course the problem is, for example, that the event rate is so low. So you need for that, coming then to the aim of this club, I think if you're talking about DRT and is it related to stroke, yes or no, as Lorenz said, these event rates are so low, you cannot do this in randomized trials. So a club, which hopefully has then the registry, it's actually up and running. I think maybe I can ask in 2 minutes from now, Jens-Erik and Philippe, Garot, on the update on where we are with the ELAACC registry. But I think this is an ideal tool to invest these kind of things, like what are these leaks, what are DRT, what does it have of a significance? Because you have to fish more with a wide net and get some data together and then see if there's some tendencies, correlations or causative relations. So maybe before I continue then on the future directions and what I think we should do on these meetings more or ask your input, maybe we can ask for an update, Jens Erik, maybe on where are we with that ELAACC registry and
yeah, we discussed it yesterday, so it is up running. It is REDCap based. You can have it in your hospital. You can have the data in your own hospital. You are the data owner. Some countries, it can just run as a kind of quality database. Other sites, you need to have ethical approval, and we also have a research protocol, the ELAACC observational study. So it's a very good thing here at the end of the meeting to really try to motivate people in the room to join the registry and put in your data. And I think both Xavi and I have already got a lot of requests so that different sites here can participate, and we actually already have a study going on based on retrospective data entry with 800 patients, yeah, so that is really, really important for us, and also for the next year that we can really come forward with this registry and do. There are so many things that we can do if we collaborate.
Okay, and how practically, like the people in the audience here, if they say, I want actually my patients that they also go into that registry, yes, if they get all the permits and what they need, how practically, who do they contact? Is that, yes? Or was that explained yesterday?
I was just talking with Adela. I think that a very practical way just to do it will be, just to have a final email with all the current registries, with instructions to participate, the contacts. Anders Kramer is going to be the contact for the blueprint that we said yesterday. So if you don't mind, we will send you an email to all of you, just with the current projects. Also, if you have, like additional projects that you want just to propose, I think that like a wrap-up mail with some instruction, I think that it might work very well.
Yeah. So. Okay, that's very good. So look, so that's something that's we managed to, or they get in place, and that's going to come to roll, I think, in the next, from now on, in the next couple of years, and that's hopefully a good frame to get some studies and registry studies up and running. Then going on these meetings, these gatherings we have, yes, we want this to be a yearly gathering. Yeah, the only thing I was reflecting, and please, I want to have your input on that, sitting here is, yeah, we're having good discussions, good talks, but maybe the main goal, if we go back on the ELAACC, it's kind of a club. We invite interested people. We want to be kind of a incubator for ideas. And two main goals were either go for consensus, see if we can work up to some consensus documents, for example, with the input of a large group of people. I think we also have to be better on that in the future, in the next coming years. And then also research ideas. And I think maybe if we're self-critical, I think maybe for this session we had it better maybe in the first session in Barcelona last year, where we really, for me it should be that maybe we have to do it the next time. We discuss topics, or we pre-specify a couple of topics. For example, what do we do? How do we screen for DRT? What do we do? And then we do some voting, maybe. Because I think in a club, what you expect is, if you work up to a consensus, we want input from all of us, We want, and that we need some voting there. I think that's maybe something I would like to introduce for the next sessions, that we also have to pre-specify. And you cannot do everything at every meeting, yes, because otherwise you would only need one meeting. So maybe if for next meeting we pre-specify 2 or 3 topics to work with a big group, for example, one group of 15 people on one particular topic, another 15 to 20 people. I mean, we can be large in the collaborators and the co-authorships there, and 3 topics, and we vote at the meetings, and we work up to these consensus documents. I think I envision that this could be a good thing that would enthusiasm everybody. So, and we haven't done that now, but I think that's something to learn. And then from the research part too, I think we should maybe try to really get your input on what, after these sometimes really brilliant talks, like Lorenz, your talk was really fantastic, but then it could immediately like stimulate us to, yeah, but what is missing here? We should have space, more space in the program to have then a half-hour talk about, yeah, but now after all what we saw of this great talk about this topic, what are research questions, what could we do to give an answer on this or this, yes? And then have a common brainstorm on, could we do this with a registry? Should we set up a small prospective randomized thing? Or we need some more space in the program to discuss these research topics as well. So that was the only thing, because I know I had a closing talk here, that I thought like, what could we do better? And I think it was great. The organization is fantastic. So thanks for the people organizing this. They deserve a big thumbs up. But from our content, the content was good. Talks were great. But how do we work up to these consensus documents, be more inclusive there and more engaging? And then also for the research topics, how do we really put these things on the rails? And voting, I think, is part of being in a club and going forward with some concrete ideas. Okay, so with that, I want to conclude, and I think it was great to have you here, and I hope we have many of you still in the evening to have a fun evening as well. And maybe some input still here, maybe Philippe, you take over from here, maybe somebody is here sitting now and saying like, look, I want to say this already, and if not now, then I think afterwards, I think there should come a mail from the organizing committee asking for what was good, what could be better next time, so the organizers can learn from this and do better next time. Yes?
Of course, Ole, you're completely right. We have to improve. Self-improvement is, of course, very important, and it's because of thanks to you that we will improve. And we already had, during the coffee break, some comments, and I have to say that I'm quite happy because some people said that last year was not so good, but this year was really great. And I found the comment, I said, wow, it was not so good, but okay, but this year is better.
But
so
look, I mean, the
it's
meeting
okay.
was great, but we have to, what are we as an added value in participating in this and not another kind of a meeting? That's these consensus and these research topics and being engaged in the consensus and the research. I think we should, that's what our goal of the club is and where people want to come, and I think that's what we have to make effective then also.
Yeah, and it's all about also the presentation. We can make it more interactive, more like debates, more like,
more space
these things,
for discussion,
like more inclusive.